For over 130 years, Sunderland has been a one-club city, carrying the hopes and mostly heartbreaks of football fans across Wearside. But this weekend, that all changes. A club long thought to be extinct returns to the field in Sunderland. This is Only Stands and Terraces, and this is the story of Sunderland Albion. The story all begins with a well-known name at Sunderland FC. The Sunderland FC's original founder and school teacher, James Allen. In 1879, Allen gathered some of his colleagues and other teachers to form Sunderland and District Association Football Club. He was a visionary, he was a chairman, he was a creator, and he was a player. And once scored 12 goals in a single match, which still a record that still stands to this day. And off the pitch, he was building something new that we all know, and everybody in the footballing world knows: Sunderland Association Football Club. And this new club was thriving. It had moved grounds. It was attracting Scottish talent. It was donning the red and white stripes we all know today. But with success comes conflict. Allen's ideals would clash in the direction that the club he created was going in. By December 1887, Sunderland AFC were expelled from the FA Cup for bringing Scottish players down from Scotland, obviously, but paying the travelling expenses, which was against the FA rules at the time. And for James Allen, this was his final straw. And a believer in amateur football and the professionalism that was coming into the game, he just didn't agree with and he just didn't like. So in March 1888, Allen decided to walk away from the club that he had founded, the club that he is so celebrated for. He walked away from to create a new club, Sunderland Albion. And with this, he wasn't alone. It is said that 5 to 6 players, some of which were them Scottish players, joined him at the new club. Also, Sunderland's first ever chairman, George Potts, joined him at Sunderland Albion. Albion then, as a new club, took over the Blue House football field, which was Sunderland FC's original home ground, which by this time they'd moved on to Newcastle Road. And in forming this new club, Allen declared them the true club of the people. With this, the city was then split into two, and fate would have it that Sunderland Albion and Sunderland FC would draw each other in the FA Cup. However, Sunderland FC withdrew from the competition when they drew Sunderland Albion and refused to play them, basically denying Sunderland Albion of any big payday or any recognition. I believe this happened on another occasion in the Durham Challenge Cup. I could be wrong on that. Any of you people who know the history might be able to correct us on that. But public pressure forced the two clubs to eventually meet. And on the 1st of December 1888, the two clubs met for the first Wearside derby at Newcastle Road, with a packed crowd reported of up to 18,000 people attended. Sunderland AFC won that game 2-0, but this was just the beginning of a bitter rivalry between the two clubs. In the return match, Albion were leading 2-0 at half time, and in the second half, Sunderland FC had managed to claw the game back to 2-2, and with minutes left of the game, they scored what was a controversial goal, which was protested that it went over the crossbar and not under it. And the goal was eventually given to Sunderland FC, and the Albion players walked off the pitch in protest and refused to play any more in the match. By that, the final whistle went, and the win was awarded to Sunderland FC 3-2. The aftermath of this game has been widely reported of being an ugly brawl. There were stones thrown at the Albion players, the headquarters was smashed up, brawls broke out around the town, and James Allen was actually acting as a linesman in the game, was struck by stones, it's reported in newspapers. And this was just the start of a massive feud and a divide becoming in the city. It was becoming that old saying, it was more than football. By 1890, the two clubs' divide was getting increasingly bigger. Sunderland were pulling away, Albion were not doing what they were expected. And in 1890, the Football League was expanding, and both clubs had applied to join the Football League. Sunderland, as we all know, got voted into the Football League. However, Albion didn't and did not receive one single vote. And from that moment, that is when the gap widened, and Sunderland became known as their original nickname, the team of all talents, becoming division champions in 1892 and 1893. And with Sunderland AFC's success and Albion's banishment, well, not banishment, but rejection from the Football League, saw them playing in the Football Alliance and Northern League, and their crowds that they were attracting started to dry up, and with that, the money started to dry up. By 1892, the club owed £500 in debts, which today, football and money doesn't sound like a lot of money, but back then that was a significant amount of money to be owed, and they just did not have the money to pay. And without this £500 and no saviour to come in, the club would ultimately fold. They tried to arrange friendlies with Sunderland AFC to generate the money, and Sunderland AFC just rejected ever wanting to play them through the troubles and through basically not wanting them to succeed. But eventually, under public pressure, they did play two final derbies, both of which came at an absolute hammering of a 6-1 defeat and an 8-0 defeat. I believe the 6-1 defeat was at Albion's home ground, and the 8-0 was at Newcastle Road at Sunderland AFC's home ground. And just like that, after 4 years of the club being created, they dissolved and went out of existence. James Allen then, the man who founded both clubs, lived out the rest of his life as a teacher and died in 1911 at just aged 54 years old. Sunderland AFC, the club at the time, sent a wreath to his funeral, which was a final nod at a thanks for the man that without him, Sunderland might not have ever had a football club, never mind two. And now, for over 130 years, Sunderland Albion only existed in memories, to some of which some people didn't even know this story, and that there was ever two football clubs in Sunderland. But some history and some stories refuse to die, and in 2020 there was a resurgence of bringing Sunderland Albion back, but with the pandemic hitting, these plans collapsed and it just didn't materialise. But in 2025 the dream has returned. Local supporters have reformed Sunderland Albion, and with new players, new backing, a new ground, there's a mission here to bring back the city's second club. Wearing the original colours of navy blue and white stripes, Albion are reborn. And this weekend, for the first time in 133 years, Albion take to the field in their home city. A club once erased and now restored, a forgotten rivalry remembered, and a community story retold. Sunderland Albion's return is more than a football match. It's history alive again. James Allen's spirit lives on, and once again, Sunderland are a two-club city. This is the return of Sunderland Albion Football Club. Okay, fair enough. It's not a two-club city, but the fairy tale story would be nice to see. Yes, we know they're not the real rivals, and they probably never will be, as history now tells it after 130 years. But it is a story that a lot of people do not know about. And Sunderland Albion are now back in playing in the Wearside Division 3, which essentially is probably the lowest step of football in England you can play. It is an amateur league that maybe one day they will climb, and maybe in 15, 16, 20 year, 30 year, who knows, they might be around that National League. I guess that's the dream for these people who have brought the club back, and I just think it's a nice story. That's literally what I think it is. I don't believe it's going to be a two club city, but it would be a nice fairy tale story to see it. And I'm going there today to watch them play in their first game back in Sunderland. They've started the season, but the ground at the Lions wasn't ready, and they've been playing the home games over in Horton, which is off the top of my head probably 5-6 miles away. It's a small village town that is in the city of Sunderland, but it's not in Sunderland as such. And I was going to go to the very first game, but I thought I would wait until they played actually in Sunderland to do this story. And to be fair to them, they've started off the league very impressively, and they've played 5 games, won 4 and lost 1. They are currently sitting third in the league with 2 games in hand. I believe they have scored 2 seconds. I'm going to look on my phone here because they have scored 28 goals and conceded 6. So it's looking like a promising start of the season, and with any luck they'll climb the league and become a grassroots team in the North East, another team that people can go and watch. And I'll be honest, I've been looking forward to this one. It's a game. It's not actually a league game. I forgot to mention this as well. It's not actually a league game. They're playing Durham. I forgot Durham something development. I've even forgot who they're playing. But they play in the league above Sunderland Albion. So if anything, it's a good test for them. So as with a lot of my other videos, I know this isn't your typical Derby Day video that I usually do. It's not one of my Stadium Tour videos. It is a video I've gone on a different direction of, but I am trying to keep it relatively similar. So coming up is my highlights of the game, and afterwards what I thought of the game, that kind of stuff. Just what I usually do. So I hope you enjoy the video, and yeah, it's been a while since I've done one of these videos at all, and I suppose all I can do is apologise really. I did go to Bradford vs Huddersfield last week. I'll be honest, I was struggling putting the footage together and I wasn't enjoying it, so that's just been binned. I was there. I might put a few highlights of the goals at the end of the game, tell you what I thought of that, but now it's all about Sunderland Albion. Enjoy the game, and I'll see you at the end. Yeah, this morning I nearly didn't get up to go to this game with the weather absolutely pouring it down. Did not let up all day, absolutely soaking, but I've been saying I was coming to this first game in Sunderland for a long time, and yeah, I dragged myself out, absolutely soaked through, but yeah, it's a decent game. Started off all Albion to begin with, a few half chances even there, nothing of any significance though. Ball that, you know. Come on, perfect.
Most of them touching the ball now.
Even the boy came with us, even though I said he's going to be soaking. Seemed to enjoy himself. Durham did have their chances, but they were all similar to Sunderland Albion. There were half chances and yeah, nothing of any significance. Like I say, I think Albion had the better chances of the two.
Ooh, I don't think that was it.
And that was never in a million years offside. Ever. And the teams went in at half time, 0-0. Like I say, I think Albion had the better chances in the first half, but nothing of any real danger, let's say. Second half come out and the rain just did not let up. At this point it was pointless trying to stay dry. But it's where the game started to open up a bit, and Albion again were pressing for that opener. And this was a red card, and I'll be honest, I don't actually know what happened. I'd missed it. I just heard him getting sent off, and that was it. It was early into the second half, and Albion continued to push for that opener with 10 men. And they continued to push for that opener with 10 men, which they eventually got. Surprisingly, once they were 1-0 up and down to 10 men, Albion kept pushing for another, which was nice to see. It really was. Although it just didn't come. Then, as the game went on, I think Durham started to come into the game a lot more and got a few more decent chances, better than what they got in the first half. The keeper pulling off a few saves, and then with this free kick, they hit the bar. And I think that's where the pressure started to pile on top of Albion, but they did keep creating some half chances. But Durham kept pushing for that equaliser. But this is where the game started to open up.
Yes, John. John.
And that I actually thought was going to be 2-0. Until Durham eventually equalised with this free kick. Surprised it went through so many players, but with minutes to spare, they finally got that equaliser that they were pushing for, and probably deserved. Up until the final whistle, where we went into penalties.
Shoot! Yeah! Save it.
Unlucky that.
Oh!
To which Albion were unfortunate to lose the game 5-3 on penalties, but can't take that away from Durham. It was a spirited comeback, and yeah, I enjoyed it. So yeah, I enjoyed that, to be honest. I think Sunderland Albion were very unlucky not to have come away with the win of the game. I think they played really well. It was both teams put in a good account. I've seen worse football played at a higher level, and it was worth going in that absolute horrendous weather. It was one of them where when I got up on the morning to go, I just looked out the window and I thought, I don't want to go here. But I've had that in my calendar for a while that I would go to Sunderland Albion's first game back in Sunderland. And to be honest, once I'm home, dried, showered, all that, it was worth it. That's what I can say. In the original video, I did forget to mention about Sunderland Albion that in the 4 years of their existence, they did win the Durham Challenge Cup in 1890. And also in the 1888-89 season, they got to the second round proper of the FA Cup, being beat by Blackburn Rovers, who at the time were quite a big club. But all this got me thinking that if Sunderland Albion were a success and they lasted more than that 4 year and went on to be a proper club, where would that leave you as a fan? Would you be a Sunderland AFC fan, or would you be a Sunderland Albion fan? And I think from where I'm based, where I live and where I've grew up, the chances are I would have probably been an Albion fan, even though I find that bizarre to think. In an alternate universe and the circumstances around it, I would probably have grew up being a Sunderland Albion fan. And this then begs the question of, would the Tyne-Wear rivalry even exist? Now, we all know the Tyne-Wear derby goes way deeper than football, and it goes back to roots of King George and the Civil War. The rivalry between Sunderland and Newcastle goes way back. Goes back to, like I say, King George. Goes back to industry. Goes back to all kinds. And there's such a history on that rivalry. I think there would probably still be a rivalry there, but would it be as big as what it is today? What do you think? Like, are you a Newcastle fan watching this? Would you think our rivalry would be still there, or would you still hate us as much if we had bigger rivalries? It's a bit like the Sunderland, Newcastle and Borough, really, isn't it? It's who knows what could have been. But yeah, getting back to the Sunderland Albion game, I do recommend, if you're local to the area, getting yourself along, getting them watched. If you search for the Wearside Division 3 League on Google, it'll come up with all the fixtures. Also, give them a follow on the usual channels. I follow them on Facebook, where they update all the fixtures. I also know they've got a TikTok and other social accounts, but Facebook's the one that I've been following them on, and they're such a welcoming club. They've sent us messages before, after knowing I was going to be there, and yeah, I think they've got a plan. They've got a mission to take the team up through the leagues and really give it some identity. I don't know how far they'll manage to go. Hopefully in 10, 15 years, that they've established themselves higher up in the Northern League. And I said the National League areas, but I know that's probably a far off dream for them, but who knows. This team's done it. There's plenty of teams out there. So yeah, this video has been a little bit different from us. I've took ages to do a video between my last one I don't want to fall off doing them. But if you like this kind of approach that I've took over doing a football story or football history, just let us know in the comments if you've got any stories that I can cover, or if you want us to go back to me football and derbies, tell us what derbies you want to see is at, or just I just hope I'm going in the right direction. And if you haven't already, hit us a subscribe, because that really helps us progress with the channel and keeps us motivated. So hopefully I'll see you soon, and not as big of a gap as the last two videos.